irregardless, I still, care about you.
Do people still use that word?
Mike did on the show.
Is someone mad at that, or I missed a lot of it?
I posted about it and people got mad. People got mad because I said it wasn't a real word. And then they said, yes, it is. It's a real word. It's in the dictionary. No. It's in the dictionary. I'll explain on the show.
Unfortunately, people have used it so much that they added it as a non-standard adverb, which...
Exactly. That's what I want you to explain.
But irregardless, LOL, LOLs, BRB are also in the dictionary.
Thank you.
Like our dictionary is evolving, and I think that's triggering for some. I'm going to add you in that category. It's like we're adding words, like what used to not be a word and the reasons for it not being a word. Once they slam it in a dictionary, the argument goes out the window.
Well, I mean, like irregardless, it's born out of two words, right? It's irrespective and regardless. And it's people combining them for whatever reason to try to make themselves sound smarter. But they're really meaning generally regardless, not irregardless, or sometimes they might mean irrespective. But irregardless as like a contraction word or whatever, they say it to try to sound smarter, but what actually ends up happening is they sound dumber to
only the people that know that, though.
Yeah, okay.
Or only people that care. For me, I don't give a shit. Use irregardless. It's I hear so much slang every day.
Slang, I don't
so much
mind.
Misuse of words every day.
I don't mind slang.
It's like in different languages though, how there is formal words, right? And there's non-formal words, and then there's like in Japanese, I'll say it, and there's different dialects. So
there are formal words, not there is formal words.
There are.
See, I'm just a pedantic
the data
asshole.
Are, but I mean, in real conversation between people, I don't think personally I would pick on that. If I hated that person, and in your case, they're my cracker eater, I would pick on everything. And I think that's where that lies, is like, well, they used this word wrong. And everyone's like, okay, grammar police, who gives a shit?
Honestly, well, okay. So I am a bit of grammar police when it comes to stuff anyway. That's just sort of is.
Well, the nature of your job is writing. Yeah. Correct.
Right.
So you have to know how to write technically, and you have to know how to write well. Me, I am on that path of learning how to write well. And I think that like the nitpicking only makes people more aggravated.
Well, that's why. So like the word pedantic, right? It's not just being like nitpicky about words and grammar. It's being annoyingly so. Right. So by me saying, oh, irregardless, it's not a word, that's me being pedantic because I'm being an asshole about it. It's not just that I'm saying, oh, by the way, Hanakawa, that's not a real word. It's me being a complete asshole about it. So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's my job to write properly and, and all that kind of stuff. But that in and of itself isn't really my issue. It's like, irregardless is one of those words to me. It's not every word that's used incorrectly. I am a bit of a grammar police about certain words, and that's one of them. And in that it just gets my hackles up. Like I get what's the word? Disproportionately annoyed about it. Like given what the quote unquote offense is, my annoyance level with it is like skyrocket above where the offense is, if that makes sense. So it's like I'm going to get hate for this too, but it's like I dislike Coldplay. I more than dislike Coldplay. I hate them. I hate them in a disproportionately irrational way. So that's my feeling about the word irregardless.
Makes sense. but added to the person using it, which I think was Andrew in this case.
No, it was Mike.
It was Mike. Well,
either one.
So, right. It could come off as condescending,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. I recognize
when that's what you picked up out of the entire conversation was the misuse of that word, which it could have been a producer anyway writing it, you know.
Well, that's not the only thing from that conversation, but it was one of the things, you know, and I posted about it, right? Of course, Mike, I said, of course, Mike is the type who would use Irregardless. And, you know, that you guys who've been following me for a long time know that, like, my sort of, you know, whatever, my sort of, I would say, sense of humor, I guess. But most people commenting agreed. They laugh about it, you know, my favorite fake word, this and that. There was a group of people who recognize that it's a word in the dictionary, but that it, like you said, it's non-standard, and that just because people have been using it, it's gotten in the dictionary, so people can be, you know, it can be explained what it is, define what it is. I mean, that's what a dictionary is, right?
Well, especially when someone foreign hears it, right? They need to be able to look at something and go, oh, okay, it's a word, but only certain types of Americans use it.
Well, it would confirm her assessment.
I mean, I've heard it on the news, you know, I would consider very educated news anchors say irregardless. And I wonder if it's just going to be one of those words that are absorbed into the vocabulary and is accepted.
I don't know if
Oxford
it's
and Stanford
there.
are probably never going to take the non-standard out of that. Like, they are stubborn.
Yeah. I mean, just because it's quote unquote in the dictionary doesn't mean it's a real word and should be used. Some words, you know, are like BRB, LOLs, all of those kinds of things are in the dictionary, and definitions are provided of them because that's what a dictionary is. I don't know enough about linguistics and all of the things that, you know, what makes a word qualify for dictionary status. I don't know. I just know that irregardless is, as they say, a non-standard word. But
it's
here's
like, and it's going to be a lot of like, and there's controversy around it, and that's good. That's good that people are having opinions about it, because groupthink is very toxic too. And if you think that it is a word and it's no big deal, good for you. Argue your point. It's almost a no one's right conversation.
Use it or don't use it. I don't care.
Use it or don't use it. But if you use it in my presence, I'm going to have this impression of you. And that's kind of, and that's where it kind of ends in my case. And I have probably used that word a handful of times in my life. And usually it's if I'm angry and I'm not really thinking about like how grammatically correct I am yelling at somebody.
That makes sense. And I'm definitely not the asshole that's going to correct grammar in the middle of an argument, because that's a special kind of asshole.
I'm submitting you to r/. Am I the asshole for picking on people that use the word irregardless? I'll type it up and see if he responds.
I wouldn't use it in the middle of an argument because I mean, use, like, I wouldn't be policing.
Well, it's not in your vocabulary, right? You purposely will not use it.
No, I meant I wouldn't correct somebody who used it in the middle of an argument. Like if I was arguing
that cause a divorce.
I would make fun of him later after we made out, probably. But yeah, it's one of those things, you know, and I've certainly, you know, before people come after us in the reviews or comments and tell me that I'm not perfect. No, I know I'm not perfect. I recognize that this is just one of those things that drives me batshit crazy.
Everybody is a subject matter expert in some part of life. So you get to be the subject matter expert on irregardless usage and application. You get a gold badge. Congratulations.
One, it should never be used. That's it.
Very, very narrow subject matter.
That's it. That's all I can do. You know what else really annoys the fuck out of me is every single male on 90 Day Fiance this season.
Yeah, everyone?
Well, no. Okay.
Let me take a mental tally.
Zied isn't annoying me.
Zied is not annoying me.
Correct.
He's actually making me laugh.
Yes.
Jovi's just clueless.
He hasn't grown up. He hasn't learned what many of us have learned. And that is that you can be like selfish, and other people, if you're in a relationship, may not appreciate that about you. You know what I mean? Like, I have been in relationships in my younger days, and maybe my not so younger days, I don't know, where I have been the Jovi. And I learned through those relationships, going through problems and ultimately ending because of that, right? So you live and learn, and you move on, right? And you sort of look, oh, maybe you have luck. If you're lucky, you have a friend who tells you were being kind of a, selfish asshole. I think Jovi hasn't quite got the memo of how to be in a relationship yet. Specifically a relationship with Yara, maybe.
I don't think or a relationship in person, because they've had this relationship, but it's been long distance. He's been able to go out with his friends. It didn't matter. He was going out while she was sleeping or whatever, and he was there when she was awake. So now that she's there physically and is demanding his time, then I think it changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Where his friends are probably like, well, you guys have been dating for this long. Why now does she want to, tell you not to drink? And I think that's a bit of a made up plot for the show, because every time they post on Instagram, they're drinking. So I'm like, I don't,
the two of them,
I don't think it. Yeah, I'm like, and it doesn't matter, if they're having a good time and drinking. But it's kind of
totally
like obviously you guys are able to enjoy the greater parts of life. You're traveling, whatever. Good for you. But I guess it just annoys me to be like, don't drink anything. You can't have anything to drink. And it's just like, okay, we're posting. Look at our drinks. It's like,
yeah. Yeah. I don't think Jovi means any ill intent. I don't think it means he doesn't love Yara. I don't think anything like that. I just, as the season has gone on, it just seems like he is sort of clueless. Like you said, he's kind of just clueless on, how do you have a relationship? And I mean, in that you're sharing your time with somebody else, and it's
and hell, he has a kid now on the way, so I guess it's a buckle up kind of deal.
We'll figure it out.
I did say that Zia didn't bother me. I guess one thing did bother me, and that was the whole, and we don't know if this is really how it happened, but the whole can't marry or can't be with you, or I have to marry you ASAP.
Oh yeah, before Ramadan, or we can't be together during Ramadan.
At first I was like, well, I'm really mad that he withheld that and didn't say anything. I'm like, but wait a minute, Rebecca didn't tell him that she was technically still married for the entire before the 90 Day season 3 season. I think she told him on the second to the last episode.
Yeah. It was,
so I mean, he could have waited until the first day of Ramadan and said, "Oh, you need to leave.
Peace out.
I have a secret, and I don't know if I tell Rebecca, she'll be mad." I do like the scene where and this is from the last episode, where he was playing the video game.
Oh, and she's looking for her ring.
He's like mad mashing on the keys, and as a gamer, I'm like, you're not playing a game. I'm like, this is this is all stage play. He's clicking the top button like 50 times. I'm like, what the hell are you playing? Like, that's not even Mario button. I don't know why I would notice something stupid.
Yeah, you totally would.
See, that's where my narrow field of subject matter expertise is.
I would have been really impressed.
She's running around the house frantic, sweating, and he's just like, I know what dynamic they're trying to do is that he's the young, immature, playing games while she's frantically looking.
And he's like bobbing and weaving with his remote, trying to like play.
Right. But I'm like, you lost it. You keep looking. And then when she tells him, he's like, it's okay. She's like, you're not more upset than that? I'm like, weren't you outside just worried that he would be upset?
Yeah. I don't pick one.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. What other guys are there?
Andrew, Mike,
I would say
Brandon,
Ryan, but he's out of the picture.
Mike, Brandon. Yeah, Mike and Brandon.
See, I don't want to go on like a man bashing parade here.
Well, specifically my issue with him had to do with he was like, I'm always doing something wrong, and she wants me to be something I'm not. And that is to me like, okay, well, you're always doing something
you want
wrong.
her to be a fucking farmer. So.
Right.
She's a go-go dancer. Okay. Like,
so, I mean, and she just wants you to not be, I don't know, like a decent man. I don't know. And I'm not entirely, I don't even remember at this point what her specific issue was with him. But yeah. So, but what was interesting about their storyline, the only interesting thing that really happened was mom suggested due to coronavirus and this and that and the other thing that they get married, they move up their wedding date. And Julia doesn't like it, but she agrees that it's probably necessary. It means she doesn't get her special date, which was the Mother's Day weekend thing.
Yeah.
And
the only problem is that, like, yeah, you go, okay, it's just this one time, but it's kind of not, because now their anniversary is that day. So that's like, that's a permanent compromise if Mother's Day is such a big thing for her. Now, how it could backfire for Julia is if they decide to combine those two celebrations every year.
But she's not getting that day now because they moved up the day. So this is my point being that Julia didn't like moving up the date because it means she doesn't get that special date. But you make a good point about this. But also, their anniversary is going to be this new date, but she agrees that it's probably necessary in light of, the pandemic and everything. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's get married before you're not allowed to do it at all and whatever.
Right. Yeah. I was painting this scenario of like, what if, it's like, don't be too stubborn because you'll get what you want more.
So, but mom in this scenario gets what she wants, which is them not to get married on Mother's Day weekend. So
I wouldn't do that. And that's really awkward. Like, I was born on a weekend that was dedicated to a holiday, and it was like, it's kind of awkward when you guys are exchanging gifts for different reasons. Here you go.
Yeah. For sure. So that was the only thing of interest to me in their story. The only thing, I mean, everything in this episode was it was like last week's episode just extended. It was really more of the same story, right? We got a little bit more of why Amira didn't go to the United States. They showed some of the text conversations from Andrew.
Oh yeah. You think those were legit?
Yeah.
We zoomed in. I think they were too.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's opinion is that he's kind of an asshole, but like it.
Right.
So reading, it didn't make sense. I'm like, does he not make sense when he messages all the time? Because there's like, you got this in 5, 4, and then
counting down, and my time, I don't have the time, or
I'm
whatever.
Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you so anxious about? And I don't know.
Yeah, agree. But you not that you were team, Andrew or anything like that. You've made it very clear you were not a team in this scenario, but I don't think it's just the edit in this. It's, I mean, if they're showing the actual text conversations and that's how he's talking to her, I mean, she's having a legit panic attack about the enormity of everything. And that's his reaction to her. I'm like, no,
this is so weird.
So then we have Mike and Natalie circling back to them. And we have, I mean, I guess it technically is spoiler because it wasn't on the show, but it's been out there in social media so much now at this point that I would hesitate to call it a spoiler, is that somebody, a Redditor, ran into Uncle Bo. Allegedly ran into Uncle Bo, and then but then Uncle Bo gave an interview in Touch Weekly. So this information, the information that they found out was that yes, Mike and Natalie got married, which we've known, but that they split up shortly after that, and she moved out.
Apparently, yeah. So they put the time frame of less than 1 year of marriage. They separated. And now we're assuming she moved out, even though the kitchen, like I said before, looked similar.
Right. But I say moved out because of that quote, that Uncle Bo quote, when somebody asking if she was going to come back, and he was like, God, I hope not.
Right. So yeah, so she is gone. Wow. Okay. He made it all the way to, what was it? Us Magazine?
In Touch Weekly, I believe.
In Touch. Okay. I'm like, which freaking magazine was it? Like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a
go Uncle Bo.
Leave it to Uncle Bo to say, fuck this. And go to a magazine to confirm it.
Do you think he went to the magazine, or do you think the magazine came to him? And
they probably came to him, but any other cast member, would be like, you need to talk to the TLC person.
Bo doesn't give a shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
In Touch Weekly probably threw some money at him and was like, hey, will you confirm this? And he's like, hell yeah, sister, I will.
They had to be that, he had to be that fed up to even say anything. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had there was someone that ran into Uncle Bo. They were the one that released the information on Reddit.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure In Touch was like, get us in contact with him. If he's going to open his mouth, to get him now.
Yeah, exactly.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Right.
So yeah, as far as we know, they aren't together anymore, which could explain her bizarre solo cooking streams. But someone is recording those.
Yes.
She posted one yesterday, and the camera is being held by somebody.
It's clearly not a selfie.
It's not a selfie. So I'm like, she could have roommates, whatever. Maybe her mom came down. I don't know, but
good point. Yeah, we don't know who's recording those.
Who's holding the camera? Who does she have captive?
Oh my God. Well, see, now that's a whole other subplot we didn't even consider.
Oh, dude, I have a whole sequel planned out.
Oh God, are you writing
someone hostage to make cooking videos? Yeah.
Are you writing 90-day fanfic?
Yeah, but the clean kind. Okay, before anyone gets excited, if you want the bad fan fiction, they all have OnlyFans. You can enjoy that much as you like for about $20 per pop.
My God, that's hilarious. So when this pandemic started, Hetero Life Mate, he started working from home and on a completely different schedule. So this meant that I was now in charge of planning and cooking dinner for the entire family. So this freaked me out, especially when a trip to the grocery store is stressful and I just really can't be going. But then I found Gobble. Gobble is the meal kit delivery service designed for real life. I've got one kid in virtual school and one kid in in-person school, and Hetero Life Mate is working all kinds of wacky hours. But with Gobble, no matter how crazy your schedules are, we can still get a nutritious, flavorful, homemade dinner on the table where I sit down with all of the kids because it only takes 15 minutes.
Definitely. And I mean, Gobble does all the time-consuming work for us. They pick out the healthy quality ingredients. One of my favorite, they pre-portion and prep the ingredients, like even chopping up the vegetables for you. You just pick the meal from Gobble's extensive dinner menu each week, including a variety of flavors, classic dishes, global recipes, and delicious vegetarian options. Plus, they do have a line of lean and clean recipes that have low calorie and low carb options.
And the Gobble box is delivered fresh right to your doorstep. It's so easy to prepare. It's ready to serve in just 15 minutes. And I'm telling you, Gobble is a life-changing service. It is such a life hack.
Plus, you can skip delivery weeks or cancel the service at any time.
They're offering our listeners this fantastic limited time deal, which is 6 meals for just $36 plus free shipping. That's dinner for 2 for 3 nights for just $36. Great way to try this. And it's only available if you use the code FRAUDED. To get this special offer now, go to gobble.com/frauded. That's gobble.com/frauded for 6 meals for just $36. So we have like 1, maybe 2 episodes left, and we have to see how they turn around this storyline from irregardless, he still cares about her. Can I have the ring back? Which we'll talk about in just a minute, to walking down the aisle saying I do. So write some fanfic about that. how do we get from here to there?
How do we get from here to there? I don't know.
Other than the TLC is in the contract, we have to get married.
Probably. They're like, look, you can't leave because they'll take it from 13,000 an episode to 9 if we don't seal the deal. You won't be here to get half of it. And she'd be like, "Oh, Mike, you have a good point there. I'll come back and get married." Right? What? I don't even know.
I don't know. There was a whole lot of nothing that happened this week. So, we got to talk about
that was
something.
The biggest complaint to me, because I originally was like, the day of, I never watched the day of. I always watch Monday, Tuesday, on Wednesday, today. And someone was like, nothing happened. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, nothing? They're like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? What am I supposed to talk about then?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the rings. We had 2 situations where the guys asked for the rings back. Andrew asked Amira to mail the rings back, and Mike asked Natalie for the rings back. Now, we know that Natalie tells Mike basically to fuck off. It's my ring. My understanding is, I think there was some stuff posted earlier this season that showed receipts for Amira ensuring a package, mailing the rings back. So I think Amira gave hers back and Natalie did not give hers back to Mike. This has generated a lot of, I wouldn't say controversy, but there's a lot of discussion around this, whether who is like, should you give back the ring on a broken engagement? Should you not? What's the law regarding this situation? This triggered a whole bunch of conversation I saw in some Facebook groups that I'm in, and of course on Instagram. And then of course people's personal feelings. I got a lot of interesting commentary about, FaceTime Andrew while you're flushing the rings down the toilet, Amira, kind of thing. In a broken engagement, who keeps the ring, or do you give the ring back?
I believe, and this is like from old tradition, so I don't know the legal side of it. I believe that the engagement ring is considered a gift, whether or not the marriage actually happens. Because technically, you don't have to wear the engagement ring when you're married. You could just wear your marriage band or ring or whatever. But the ring itself, the proposal ring, is considered a gift, I believe. But that could just be tradition. So,
I think that's tradition. That was my belief. That's sort of my,
and that's as far as it went, because mine was a little different. When I got divorced, I kept the ring. It wasn't even a question. Yeah. I didn't even go, oh, and I'm keeping the ring, it just wasn't brought up or expected. I don't know. But yeah, marriage did happen. So that promise or whatever was kept. I don't know what happens when there is no marriage.
Well, okay. So I looked this up from a legal perspective, and as I suspected, because family law is governed by states, by the state you're in, marriage and divorce law is all by state. So does the question of ring ownership. So a lot of states, and I think that I didn't read a lot of the history behind this, but I believe a lot of the history came from it's a contract to marry, right? And so legally, a lot of contract law principles were applied to this particular situation. So that's where some of this comes from. So in contract law, there's this concept called consideration, which is something that you bargain for. I'm giving you something, you're giving me something. You bargain for this exchange of something, whatever it is. And that's consideration. That's what consideration is. And in this case, the ring is a promise to marry, by accepting the ring, you're promising to marry, you get a ring in exchange for the promise to marry, something along those lines. If the marriage doesn't happen, that means that that promise wasn't fulfilled. That means you have to give back the consideration. So there's that theory, meaning that, okay, so if it's a promise to get married and the marriage doesn't happen, okay, we give it back. The other thought is that no, it's a gift, and regardless of marriage, and if you actually, you have the wedding or not, and it's the person's to keep. Another school of thought is that whoever broke off the engagement is not entitled to keep it. So
interesting. So if the guy broke it off, then you keep it. I mean, is there legal?
It depends. It depends on the state. The other thing that you have to think about too is, in some states, the if it is considered a gift, everybody, I think all the states say that once the marriage happens, it's the person's, it's the receiver's ring, regardless at that point. They're allowed to keep it at that point and do whatever they want with it. They can give it back if they want, but at that point, it's the question becomes is in a broken engagement, right? Some say it would become like marital property, subject to marital property rules in that state. So, like I said, I didn't go too deep into this. So, it would depend. There is no one law that applies across the country. It would depend on that law in that particular state. Although I think, Montana says it's the person's unconditionally, no matter what. I believe it is.
I mean, the thing about it is, like, if the ring has the sentimental value, like if it was the guy's or woman, if she proposed, if it was like a ring that's been in the family for a long time, I could see emotional attachment. But usually it comes down to, it cost me money and I want my money back. But what people fail to understand is that a diamond depreciates faster than a car rolling off a fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you click buy, a diamond does not, you never resell it back for what you purchased it for.
Right.
Ever. So there's very little to get back, other than if you're trying to be vicious too and say, yeah, I got my ring back, you don't get to keep it. If they don't want to marry you, then obviously it doesn't hold that much value anyways. But it seems like it's like a, what do you call it? It's not bargaining. You're not bargaining anything, but you're just being spiteful, right? The person who keeps it is being spiteful. So either way, if someone asking for it back without it actually having true value to them, other than I'm going to try and pawn it, or in Tim's case, he'll propose to the next person with it. Hey, maybe that's what it is. Hey, I want to propose to someone else with it. I've already purchased an engagement ring. If you don't want it, I'm going to use it for the next person, which is even terrible. It's terrible.
It's just terrible,
it happens.
But whatever.
It happens. Whatever. Yeah. I would want someone's opinion on that. Like, is it actually terrible to ask for a ring back? So if Mike asked for the ring back and then use it on his next proposal, is that a bad thing to do?
I mean, I would say it would depend on the receiver of the ring.
The receiver wouldn't know.
If the receiver,
so it doesn't matter what.
Then what are you gonna do?
She's not gonna be like, oh my God, I saw this on that season of 90 Day Fiance. It's the same ring.
Yeah, and it's important. I'm not giving any legal advice. We're not giving legal advice here. I
don't have legal advice to fucking give. This is my opinion advice.
I don't practice family law. Get you someone who does practice family law if this is a real legal question for you, and it may be depending on the value of the ring or the sentimentality of the ring. The concept that I saw quite a bit is that it's this whole it's a conditional promise, right? It's a conditional gift, meaning there's a presumption that you'll get married if you accept the ring. But regardless of a divorce, if after you get married, all states agree that the recipient keeps the rings. So it depends on, what are the rules? Is it considered a conditional gift? What's the rule in your state? Is it a conditional gift? Is it unconditional? Whatever. I've never had a broken engagement, so plenty of broken marriages. No broken engagements.
Yeah, I mean that's just my opinion. It's hard. I mean,
yeah, well, I think it would be opinion. I mean, law would come into it in certain circumstances. Absolutely, I can see that.
If you really wanted to go through suing for a ring, though, I mean, in that case, I feel like the person who gave the ring would probably win, because the judge would be like, "Why do you need to keep it?"
Well, I don't think it's even a why. Like, so there's this case when I was Googling and stuff. It said a man proposed to his girlfriend, presented her essentially a $20,000 engagement ring. After accepting the proposal, the woman then refused to sign a prenup, which then led to the couple calling off the wedding. When the man asked for the ring back, the woman refused and the man sued. The court ruled that the engagement ring was an inherently conditional gift, meaning that there was a presumption that you will get married if you accept it. Regardless of who called off the wedding, the purchaser was entitled to get the ring back. But that was a case out of Michigan. And again, it depends.
I mean, in the worst case, I would treat it like a marriage thing. Sell it, and you guys can split it.
Yeah, and then I think that's
you can get a whole $300 for your
right
point carat ring. Who knows what it is? But it's like you just don't get anything back for those things. So,
but I think when you're given a $20,000 engagement ring, I think that changes.
That makes a difference. So if it's 30,000 Tiffany 3 carat platinum, that's a down payment for a car. But you can't return it to Tiffany, so I don't know what you're gonna do with it.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I don't think they take them back.
I don't
have a refurbished line. I don't think so.
Oh God, imagine that. Imagine if
I could do discount rings for people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't matter if it was on someone else's finger for
somebody,
a few years.
Somebody else. Yeah, somebody not a party to the relationship may not care if it's a quote unquote cursed ring.
A cursed ring.
Well, isn't that what they say? Like, don't give me that cursed, dirty engagement ring with the bad juju on it.
No, it's not bad juju. It's the juju you bring into it.
Right.
It only has bad juju if you make it that way. So don't bring bad juju.
There's the solution right there.
There's a solution.
Don't be an asshole.
Think positively as you accept that engagement in case he's proposing with a bad juju ring.
Didn't we see this on Sex and the City also, where Steve proposes to Miranda with a ring he helped, or with the ring Miranda helped Aiden pick out for Carrie?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, so in that case, Aiden was going to propose to Carrie. She found the ring ahead of time, and it was a terrible ring for her. And it turns out that Miranda had helped Aiden pick it out. Now, apparently, Aiden goes later and switches the ring. Samantha helps him in all this stuff and gets a new ring. But Steve then comes into possession of the ring. I don't know if he bought it. I don't know. Bought it off Aiden. I don't know what he did. But he jokingly proposes to Miranda with that ring. And Miranda's like, why would I accept a proposal on a recycled ring? Because she knew it was recycled.
Yeah, I mean, if they know, yeah. But if they don't, then fair game.
How about this? Just don't get engaged.
That's not the answer.
No. Oh, sorry. Speaking of, my wedding dress arrived.
Oh, my God. That segue into the last 5 minutes where we talk personal stuff.
I know, right? So yeah, my wedding dress arrived. The problem, so here's the problem I have is that I can't zip it up in the sense that I can't get my arm back there to zip it, right? Because like I have limited mobility in one of my shoulders because of my fake shoulder.
That's what you have baby stepfrauded for.
Well, she's not here.
Or a hanger.
So, no, it's not the kind of zipper that has a hole in it that I can do that. Like so, and
I'm really entertained thinking about you using one of those like dino gripper things that old people used to pick stuff off the floor.
I was wishing I had something like that. And like, I mean, I could get baby frauded is here. So I could get him to help me zip it up to see like how much more weight I need to lose to fit into it or whatever, because if it's a little, I feel like it's going to be a little snug around my rib cage.
What if hetero life mate just put his arm in the room and felt for the zipper, and then you just kind of like, he zips it up and then you slam the door shut? Yeah, but I don't know how you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, then we have a problem, and then I'm just stuck in the dress.
Then you'll know when you've reached the right weight. Because you'll
guess this is it. I'm just living in this dress now. That's how I'm dressing.
That's quite a situation you have there. I would say wait until you have tiny assistance.
Yeah.
And then
I gotta wait.
Funny.
Yeah, I gotta wait for baby stepfather to come back so she can help zip it up so I can see and make sure that it's gonna fit. And you know, I have actually been losing some weight, and I have this coach. I don't know if I told you this. I hired a like weight loss nutritionist, personal trainer person to help me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so helping me in the last run up to the wedding to figure out all my macros and make sure I'm fitting, everything and stuff. So I just need to lose a little bit more around my rib cage, and I think I'll be happy. And then I'm working out on my, Peloton and all that stuff, doing my arms, trying to get my arms into beach wedding ready. Yeah, we have like caterer, we have photographer, and that's about it. I still need like to figure out what kind of flowers. I mean, it's a casual beach wedding. It's not like I need a ton, but I need to figure out like what kind of bouquet I want and what kind of dessert we having. And we got to figure out who's coming, because it's like really small. And I got to figure out, do I need a cake that feeds like 20 people? Do I need a cake that feeds 40 people? Like where am I at here? And I really like dessert. So I really want a lot of desserts. And it's probably more than anybody will be able to eat, including myself. So like all the things that I want. So I have to like narrow down my choices in desserts. So I don't know, stuff to do, but like 3 months. I'm getting married in 3 months, and it's
TikTok.
I know. And you're supposed to be designing a mask for me.
Oh, I am, huh?
Mm-hmm. In case anybody needs a mask.
Oh no. Oh no. Your poor guests.
Like we're really gonna have like that many people. And I think, honestly, at this point, the people who are coming, I think everyone, obviously I know them all personally, and they're gonna be like, I'll know if they've been vaccinated or not. Right. I'm almost fully vaccinated. You got your first vaccine. I got my first vaccine. We're on our way.
You're getting there.
We're on our way. I wish we had some sort of sense about the science of when the kids are going to be able to get vaccinated.
Yeah, but that's a whole different rabbit hole.
Whole other rabbit hole. Yeah. So, what was really interesting this week is 90 Day Bears All. I have so much to say about that. And if you guys want to hear it, you can tune in to us on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/the Fraudcast. We're talking about 90 Day Bears All over there, which is shown on Discovery Plus. We've had a couple new people that have joined us since last week. And I'm going to, let's see, we have Anne, Bonnie, Rayanna, and Tabitha and Susanna, I think. Thank you guys for joining us, and I look forward to having you guys over there on the Patreon. We have a Facebook group. We have a Discord. If you're interested, patreon.com/the Fraudcast. Otherwise, I think that's it. If you like what you hear, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. We'll talk to you next week. We are the Fraudcast, so we're dumpster diving, so you don't have to.